This is the inside of the Auto-Sleeper Lancashire. If we firstly come to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on and off just here. Beneath it we have water pump on and off. We need the water pump on so we can get water out the taps, fill the boiler if it's been drained. Next we have battery selection. So if this light here is illuminated, as you can see, we are using the vehicle battery to power the back of the motorhome. And when it's not illuminated, we are using the leisure battery, which is the normal one to use when you are using the van. The beauty of this is though that if you are hooked up to main supply and you select the vehicle battery, that is the battery you are now charging. So if you haven't been using the van for long periods of time, you can give the vehicle battery a good charge. Auxiliary will turn the awning light on and off. And then all other information is then given via scrolling. So start up screen, we have the time, temperature and what control panel it is at the top. We have event on and off. To turn that on, just hit this part here, but firstly you do need to actually set the event first. All it is a basic countdown timer. We then have wake up alarm on and off. So again, set what time you want the alarm to go off and then turn it on and off on this arrow key just here. Clock set, again, arrow in, adjust as required. Water tank fill, you do not need to worry. The solenoid is automatically live as soon as you turn the 12 volt on to allow water into the van for filling the tank. And just leave your pump set to internal. Battery current, external temperature, how much water is in the waste tank and how much water is in the fresh tank. What leisure battery it is, so this one is a lead acid. It's letting us know that we're currently hooked up to main supply and that the vehicle battery is good and the leisure battery is good, and then back to the beginning again. Above this control panel we then have the controls for the heating. This one here will fire up the electric element in the back of this fire just here. So to use this we have an inner dial and an outer. The outer picks the power, so we can run it on a low 500 watts, 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatts. So just dependent on the amperage of the site that you're on to stop yourself from tripping. And then we control the temperature on the inner dial here, with 1 being the lowest and 9 being the highest. If you do not have main supply connected, you can run the fire on gas, and it's nice and simple. It is literally just twist the dial. You can usually then hear the igniter ticking away. It's then just a matter of holding it down, and usually once the ticking stops you know that it's lit. Let go. If you listen acutely you can usually hear it whoosh into life. If you're not satisfied you can also peer for the pilot light just in the window there. Set the temperature once it's lit that you require, and then regardless whether you're using main supply or gas, this side here controls the circulation fans. So dotted around the motorhome you've got little air ducts like this one just here. So we have fan speed just here, and then at the moment they're off, and then we flick them on like so. This A here stands for automatic and will not work in this model of van. You do have to have an additional thermostat fitted, and that would just allow the fan to click on and off as required. If whenever you go to light the fire and you get no ticking noise, it may be to the fact that the battery has depleted, and that is located just down here. Don't know if you can see it. I'll just turn that upside down and see if I can get underneath there. Basically where my finger is here, there's a AA battery. Next we have the wardrobe, and in here you will find the controls for the boiler on mains supply. So if you want hot water using mains, literally come to this one here that says water heater, make sure you have water in the boiler and flick it on, and it will commence heating the water up. You will get a water temperature of about 60 degrees. Do make sure that when you're not using it you turn it off, because if there's no water in the boiler and this is left on, you may burn the element out. Above that we have the isolator switch for the electric element in the fire. If this one here is turned off, the dial beside the habitation door will not work. This one can just be left alone, and the one above it is the isolator for the air conditioning unit. Also in here we have the Sargent consumer unit. So we have the main strip switches just here. So we have the individual MCBs, main RCD and test button just here, and they are labelled up. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped. And then we have all the 12 volt fuses just here, and again they're all labelled up. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just see whether or not you've blown a fuse. Also in here we have all the gas isolation taps for the appliances. So the top one for the cooker and the hob. After that we then have the fridge. Beneath the fridge we then have the heating, and then the one at the bottom is for the hot water. Also in here we have all the tables. So we have the large freestanding table, and then we have the smaller table and the table pole, which then drops in to the hole just there. Tucked up in the corner we have the digital amplifier for the television aerial. Don't really need to massively do anything with this. If you're not getting a signal, you can take this front off here and just adjust the boost on this little white knob here, and then it's just a simple task of popping your TV on the bracket and then plugging it in just here, whether you're running a 12 volt TV or a 230 volt, and then the aerial fly lead in just here. You do have an inspection hatch just here, so if you lift this up and then slide the drawer out, you can see the boiler etc. just here. If you are going to be using the boiler on gas, you just need to come to this dial just here, and like the heater, you'll see you have an inner dial and an outer dial. To light the boiler on gas, firstly make sure the flue cover is off on the outside, and then flick it down. You'll get a little green light come on. It will automatically light itself, and then just pick the temperature you would like your water to be, from below 30 right the way up to 70. If it fails to light, a red light will pop up in the window. Above that we just have light switch, and these ones are just like your entrance light. Next we have the hob. So we have the electric hot plate at the back just there that runs on main supply, and it's controlled just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. The rest of the cooker is gas, so for your gas rings it's just push in, twist and push the igniter. Beneath that we then have the grill, and again that's just push in, twist and push the igniter. And then lastly the oven itself. Beneath the oven we have storage. Tucked right at the very back is a plug plugged in, which is just for the electric hot plate. In this storage cupboard here there is a safe just tucked at the back. And then we have the extractor fan just here, lights on and off, fan on and off. The fridge is turned on and off just here, and this particular model is an automatic, so as long as you are on A for auto it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to mains, it's put us onto mains electricity with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I now went outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as we start the engine it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. We can take it out of auto just by pressing this button here, so I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We are going to get an error code at the moment as the engine isn't running, and I can manually put it onto gas. If for any reason it was to fail on gas, you will get again a little blue flashing light, and it's just a matter of turning it off and turning it back on again if you think it may just be down to the fact of a bit of air in the system. And then we can manually put it onto mains. But to be fair, auto is the easiest one to have it on. Temperature control just here. Then we have the fridge and the freezer compartment just at the top here. And then to turn the unit back off again, just hold the button again. Above that we have pull out worktop. We then have the microwave. Again, like the electric hot plate, this will only work when you're hooked up to main supply. Do make sure that everything is removed for travel. And then we have all the usual stuff. We have quick start, stop, power, weight, etc. all just there. Above my head we have the Dometic air conditioning unit. Again, will only work on main supply, on and off just here. We then have fan speed just here. A is for auto. It will then just maintain the temperature that you've asked it to do. And then you can then control airflow in the 4 corners. And then turn back off again just here. If we now come to the bench seat just here and we just remove the cushions. Now all the cushions have been removed. As you can see, I've already secured the bench seat in the up position. We can then see that we have underneath here the location of the leisure battery, and then beside that we then have boiler drain down valve, which is just located here. So to drain the boiler down for winterization, or if you're not planning on using the motorhome for a little while, basically to stop the water from going stagnant, make sure the water pump has been turned off, and then just flap this yellow lever up here. This will then drop all the water out of the boiler, and you can then just leave it open. To fill the boiler back up again, just flap it back over as I've done here, fill up the fresh water tank, and then turn the water pump back on again to begin priming the system back up again. You will need to open up the taps. They'll cough, they'll splutter as they force the air out of the system, and then once they're running freely, just close them, and then the system will fully pressurize. This little gadget here has been added at some point, which can be very handy, especially when fully draining down for full winterization. When you just drain off using this bit here, and then you open up all the taps, etc., to try and release as much of the airlocks as possible to allow all the water to drain, you will still always have a small amount of water left in your pipes. With this little device here, all it is a little valve, exactly the same as you'd find on the tyre of a car or a bicycle, etc. As you can see, the valve is just there. Attach a hand pump just to this point here. Turn this little black lever just here, and then literally begin to pump, and it will then push all of the water out of the pipes to avoid any frost damage occurring to them. Now I'll pop the cushions back on again. Underneath the other bench seat we can gain access by either flapping down just here, or again by fully lifting up. For the beds, you can either have a big double or 2 singles. If you're going to have the singles, it's just a matter of rotating the seats round, like I've already done on this one. They rotate round on the red little lever just here. If I now rotate round, I personally then slightly pull out, slide the cushion across, drop the back one just down the back like so, and then we have one single bed. This can be height adjusted just on the levers just here. Obviously just do the same with the driver's seat. If you are going to have it as a double, it is just a matter of sliding both parts out and then dropping your cushions into place. And then we have a nice large double bed. Lastly, if we now come to the washroom, we have the Thetford toilet just here. So to open to the cassette, just slide across like so. Push the flush just here, and then make sure you've then closed back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. Level indicator just here, so this will illuminate when the cassette needs emptying. We then have the basin just here and the shower. To use the shower, pull the swing wall across, and then we have the other shower screen just here. So just undo the two clips and then just fold it shut.